You know, sometimes with horror movies, or in this case, a TV show that is kind of a horror thing, people do things that you're just like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, but they do it anyway. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a show. So let's talk about episode 3 of Alien Earth. So unlike last week, where I, started with a non-spoiler section and then went into spoilers, look, here's the thing: if you're watching this, it means that you've seen the episode, because there's no way to talk about it without talking about last week's episodes. So that's how it's going to go through the, I guess, the end. Um, but I will say that if you haven't watched this yet and you're a fan of Alien, um, yeah, you should watch it. I'm also not going to go through each and every thing in the episode, because look, just watch the episode if you want to recap. I mean, I that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for, to talk about the episode and talk about the things that I thought were interesting. So yeah, that's a thing. Before we really get into it, the things that I thought were cool, I really love the fact that the sort of the opening credits, I guess, if you call them that, are basically your recap for the previous episode, which I think is really neat, because it's basically, hey, let's just get on with it. Let's get on with the show. I think that's cool. So, at least for my money, the one of the interesting things about this episode is, of course, Wendy's journey throughout this episode. She's trying to find her brother. She finds her brother. He's basically being held like bait, so the alien can attack. And of course, the alien kind of looks at her weird. Of course, that's probably the synthetic thing, right? It can detect whether there's life or not. The whole thing is, she cuts the alien's head off, and he's injured. Her brother's injured, and they're taken back to Prodigy. And then at Prodigy, his lung is taken out and then put in a capsule with the alien embryo thing. And of course, that's probably the biggest thing that happened in the episode, right? I think that's interesting. I've never seen that. I never thought that, hey, maybe there's a little, almost like a little alien spermy looking thing in a face hugger. I just think that's kind of neat that we're seeing something that we've never really seen before. Now, I know that, especially on the previous episodes, some of the comments were about the lack of um, paying attention to lore. In a way, I totally get that. I totally understand that. I'm a nerd. There are things about those first two episodes that I'm like, I don't know about that. But at the same time, look, we're just here to have some fun and tell a story, right? So as far as I'm concerned, you can play a little fast and loose with the alien physiology, the life cycle, or like, I mean, in Alien Romulus, there were things that were like, shouldn't that have taken like a lot longer for the thing to come out? There's a lot of things, I think every single story kind of plays fast and loose with the life cycle of the alien. That's fine. At this point, I'm just like, look, let's just see what the story is, because I think so far the stuff that's outside of the alien is kind of interesting, and I want to know more. But even beyond that, the whole thing about Wendy waking up and can suddenly hear the alien thing, is that where we're going? What happened behind that closed door? Before her brother brought it up. Did they interface in some way? I don't know. We don't know what's going on. And there's not enough information right now to get any kind of like, oh yeah, this is what's going to happen, or anything like that. I'm just going to I find that very intriguing as to what the hell is going on. For me, the most interesting entire thing of the whole episode was Morrow, and what's up with this guy, and why is he doing the things that he's doing. He's played by Babu Sise. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and if so, I apologize. But excellent work. Like, I'm super invested in this guy's story now. Like, I really want to know what's going on, because the way that he interacted with what was his name? Slightly, Slightly, not Rashidi. I don't know who Rashidi is. I'm looking at the cast over here, but no, Slightly. I really I really enjoyed that, and I'm interested. Now, you could say that with Slightly and Smee and them acting a lot like children, I know that that's like some of the comments last week were like, really? This is what we're dealing with in an Alien series? I thought it was kind of charming, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I bet the people that didn't like the kids in the first episode or the first two episodes are, are sitting there going, this is dumb. I'm really interested in the ideas being brought forth from, you know, being human and then basically being, I guess, injected or transported, whatever, into a synthetic. And that means that your human life is your consciousness is there, but you don't have any of the problems of being human. You don't get sick. You don't have to, like the girl says, I don't have to poop. All kinds of things. I'm trying to figure out where they're going with it, and we're only 3 episodes out of 8, right? So maybe there'll be more on that, because I think so far that's the meat of the story. Of course, now that we have this alien being, I guess, bred off of dude's lung, I guess I mean, now we're gonna have an alien breakout, and it's gonna get interesting, as far as from the alien standpoint. But I'm, like I said, I'm really interested in the, you know, synthetics versus cyborgs versus hybrids, and the way that they're all working together, and then regular humans, thrown in there too. How is this? How is this going to work? And I don't know. I find it interesting. I think I said last week, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, or maybe it was just something that I read. Anyway, about this sort of, since it takes place 2 years before the original Alien movie, that we might actually see, the Nostromo launch. I don't think we're going to see that now. I feel like this is going to be its own standalone story. We may, I mean, it may do that, but I don't think there's any need for that. I think the story that they have right now is interesting enough on its own, and it doesn't have to, hey, remember that thing? They just don't need that. And I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get it, but I have hope. But everybody does solid work. Yet again, I think Timothy Oliphant, I mean, look, that guy is just solid, and he just makes me interested in every character he plays. So I'm interested to know more about Kirsch. Of course, like I said, Babu Cisse as Morrow. I'm interested there. I want to see how these characters interact, and I think Sydney Chandler as Wendy is really, really. There's something about her. She just got that charisma, and you want to know more, and you're interested in her. And so, yeah, I mean, so far I'm digging the show. Is it the best episode ever of TV? No. But this is a chapter in a story, and I'm willing to see more, but I'm curious what you're thinking. Did you watch episode 3? I mean, I hope you did. Otherwise, I just gave away a bunch of stuff. But I'm curious what you think. Did you like it? Are you still interested? Are you bummed out? Not enough Alien? Tell me what you're thinking. Let's do that. But also, I do want to give a quick shout out before we leave to my level 2 members. That's Filbert, that's Starfox, and that is Ninjinzu. Thank you guys for that support. And of course, thank you for the support of all the orderlies. Appreciate you guys. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. And so thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.